me. Generals gathered in their masses. Get out of the way.
Hello and welcome to Office Hours with Amber. I'm Amber and this is Office Hours. I am going to make sure the audio is working because on Friday I did a live stream over on the AM Jamber account and I was muted for 30 minutes. And that blew pretty bad. But plenty of things to go over today. I'm so nervous about the audio, but I can't be. I am fine. It has been 60 something weeks. I think we're fine by now. Hello and welcome. Okay, audio's good. I'm fine. I'm good. Okay, so today we're going to be working on creating and improving my video creation, video making process. And I have quite the long backstory of why this was chosen today. But I think it's important, and many of the themes are, I think, applicable for many at this point, but more so just applicable for me and like me 3 years ago, me 10 years ago. I'm really just talking to myself. So going to be discussing mildly some mental health things. So in the bio, there are links to mental health resources. Anyways, so let's imagine you're running your business, you're doing your thing, you're trying your best, and just the position I'm in right now is I keep talking about my business and trying, and I just can't. It feels like I'm speaking a different language than the people I'm trying to sell to. And so obviously that makes it incredibly difficult to be able to get new sales and new customers and new projects and new ideas. And I'm with this brand of ADHD, I love new problems to solve, and too much of the same ends up becoming everything starts getting itchy. So when you're and now we're going to relate it to emotions. So if you are from a snowy area where you experience bouts of seasonal depression, the Midwest, the snowy bits of the Midwest, seasonal depression is just a yearly phenomenon. And every April, there's this turning point where it gets sunny outside and the trees are blooming and there's flowers and everything's really nice. And then you're like, okay, seasonal depression, see you later. And then it doesn't go away. And you're sitting there like, oh, fuck. What do I do now? And that's kind of the exact moment I'm in. And so for the last month, especially, and now I'm going to make all of the next 10 minutes is going to be me relating my life to other things. So let's imagine your emotions are just in your face all the time and they get louder. Similar to children, if you don't listen to a child, they get louder 9 times out of 10. My emotions similarly, if I don't pay attention to them properly, they get louder and louder and louder. Now let's flip it around. Let's imagine your mom, if you're watching, love you so much. You know that phenomenon when your mom would be just spitting mad about something and then she goes silent? And then everyone's like, oh, fuck, who did it? Who messed with mom, you know? And I've never quite experienced this with emotions before, but it's like my emotions got to this boiling point of just being so loud all the time. And then they just went quiet. Nothing. And that, I'm imagining like you're flying a plane and then the entire cockpit, all of your sensors go down. And you're just like sitting there like, well, how do I fly this plane with no sensors? Emotions are there to tell you when you are bumping up against, the whole human range of emotions, like your whole human experience, and then they just all go offline at the same time. And so really the reason why I'm saying all of this is because my purpose generally in life is to empower, enlighten, and entertain basically people with ADHD that are trying to do more with less and like just trying to get by and exist. And so Peachy Profitability, my business, 2 parts. Profitability is all of the mechanisms and systems and processes, the mechanical part of successful businesses. But peachy is the people part. And people are messy, and they have emotions, and they have depression, and they have existence, and they have to interact with the world right now. And so without thinking about both, it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. And that's been my business the whole time. So me slowing down this current week live stream to kind of talk about the reason why we're going into the video making process, which we're still going to get to how that relates to any of what I'm saying. Because what I found is now that my systems have gone completely offline, every day I show up to my desk and I go, all right, let's do something. And then I just sit here and I just stare at the computer. And especially after last week, I had such a brain blast of how to subcharacterize my tasks to be able to know which of my internal values drive me. Such a huge thing. And I'm like, that's awesome. And it's been on my list to to categorize all my tasks and to outline my week and get excited. But when everything's offline, it's a great idea and it's going to be on that list. And when I'm ready to wake up again and be ready to do something, that is the first on my list. And it's tough because nobody talks about when everything's off. So what I found from my research on the internet is that when you are completely lost from yourself and your emotions, it's good to go back in time and back to things that your childhood self loved to do. And if we think about young, 10-year-old Amber, she loved making videos, which is hilarious because I've been making videos since 2007, not super successfully, never for any sort of engagement or viewership or anything like that. I just love filming things, editing things, and entertaining people with the things that I make. And so that's where on Friday I had a small flicker of life come back to my brain. So thank you to Matt at Good Trade Depot for letting me just run around with the camera, and also shout out to Marissa for being my actress, playing the part of herself at the warehouse. So I'm going to show you 2 videos, and these 2 videos were enough to crack a little light inside of the dark cavern that is my brain. And so I'm going to show you those videos in just a sec, but actually, no, I'm not. I'm going to show you them right now. So this is the first one. And I'm going to mute it because that noise is not important. But I didn't know I was able to make this high quality of a video. And I think I've just always told myself that I'm pretty shit at making videos, so I just never did. And so I got a few new lenses for this one was shot on the 50 millimeter 1.8, and it turned out so good. I had a moment with myself and I was like, wait a minute, can I just make videos? And I thought, and this is where the internal perfectionist monologue always goes back and says, if it's not going to be good, why do it? Which is toxic as fuck. And so similarly, I'm going to show you one other video of Marissa, and this brought me so much joy. Truly the joy I felt to be able to be live with someone, to take a video and know what we're going to do with it editing wise later, and just know exactly how I want it to look and everything together. It was such a really magical moment of oh wait, that's it. So here's the second video. Again, shout out to Marissa. And this one, the audio is fun.
Okay, ready? What's up, ladies? You want to pack out some Circle House coffee with me? Let's go.
She's so freaking naturally funny, and for me, this gave a little twinkle of light. Whereas Amber, you care about working with extremely funny or talented people. Well, and I'm not even saying talented, but just charismatic people making a video to communicate a message, enlighten, empower, entertain. And so when I realized that, stop shaking. Stop it. When I realized that I have all of the components of things that I was missing right around me, and so the more I leaned back into seventh grade Amber, who loved making videos on her little teeny tiny pink digital camera, when you circle it back around, I could do this as an adult. And then similarly, how this relates to the business. Now we're coming full circle. I have 60 plus hours of content that I've recorded with Office Hours with Amber over the last 2 years, a year and a half, and I've done nothing with it. And I tried using, like, what I realized is, much like any process ever, video creation is just a process. And because I never documented the actual process of what message do I want to send with this video? What are some components of assets that I need inside of it? Video editing is extremely easy when you go in with the right components at the beginning. And with podcasts and live streams, you don't really know what the true essence is going to be. It's called engineering improv. I can't really completely always plan for it. So editing a live stream is difficult because you have to watch hours and hours of footage back to be able to clip out parts that you like. And so that's where I started using Opus Clip to just pick out little parts of it that were relevant. And what I found is the first few videos, it did really well. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is so quick and easy and nice. And the more I use it, the more it just doesn't, throughout a whole hour of content, like me talking to a camera, I will come back to concepts later in the video. But it seems as though Opus Clip or the AI doesn't understand that 1 hour of video is like an entire thought, and you can pluck from different parts to put them together. And so it's really good at just clipping out oh, here's a 15-second bit that was really nice. And that's never how my brain works. And so that's when I looked at video creation as just another process. Garbage in, garbage out. That's IE 101, data processing 101. If you put shit into it, it's going to give you shit out of it. So what I realized is today I want to create some sort of sustainable video creation process of, I don't think the live stream, the purpose of it is to clip and use for the internet. That's great. But what I'd rather do is I use this hour to kind of sort through things in my brain and kind of talk to the universe, get ideas from the chat, and break things down live. But I would love to take some of the key aha moments that I have inside of these live streams and bundle them together and create not a script, but a beat sheet of what are the key topics that I've learned in the last month. I think that is a much more engaging way for people to be able to interact with me. And similarly, like I kind of said at the beginning, when you're trying to explain complex topics, I can do it on the fly, but if I took the time, when I'm talking with potential clients, it's like I'm speaking a completely different language. And so what I found is if I take the key things that I've learned over my time and actually curate and develop a storyline that actually is in their vocabulary in a video, instead of being go watch my live stream. I'm going to be so honest with you. I don't watch live streams. I love doing them. And the only reason I do live streams is because I'm so unreliable when it comes to editing. I would never post if I was a reliable, if I could just fix my reliability as an editor, I'd post all the time. I'd love to curate some funny things because I'm limited to my this. Wow, oh my gosh, what a beautiful angel queen princess girl. I'm limited to my soundboard and my my jump cuts. You know what I mean? And so that's where, to be able to have templates and have my branding and have the subtitles already picked up, having a repeatable process in my video editing that I can then layer in my personality. So then I'm sending people to a 3-minute, 5-minute, 10-minute video that clearly explains what I'm talking about, instead of, watch an hour-long live stream where during this duration of time and this duration of time I say something meaningful. Huh? That doesn't make any sense. So, this hour, the remaining 45 minutes, I'm going to be exploring what my video creation process is going to look like, what kind of, and I know there's plenty of tools on like scripting and storyboarding and all of that stuff, but I think by treating it like the process it is, I am a process engineer. Crazy concept. By treating this as a process that it is, I'm actually going to be able to improve the speed in which that I edit, because like truly it's so easy to edit videos that are like, instead of sifting through an hour of stuff, it's like, oh, I've got 6 copies, 6 iterations of the same sentiment, and then you could pick parts you like instead of having to Frankenstein together the best that you can of what you have. So anyways, long story short, if you're struggling with depression or anxiety, perhaps just take a day or two to go back to whatever your middle school self liked, because, and especially if you could relate it to business, hell yeah, but if you can't, play some video games, watch Hannah Montana, like, live your life. Hi, Mom. Nice to see ya. How you doing? What are you up to this week? What are you up to this week? Okay. Basically, the next 45 minutes, I'm just going to be watching YouTube, learning best practices, and I also reached out to a local video production firm to maybe shadow them. That was new. If you want to practice, there's this girl on TikTok that I think does like rejection sensitivity therapy, where, or like rejection therapy, or like exposure therapy through rejection, where she just goes and asks like insane questions to all sorts of people. Like, hi, can I fly your helicopter? Like, no, clearly you can't. But like that opens the door for her to do all sorts of other stuff. So what I realized is, if I want to learn how to do video processing better, go talk to video producers. Like, Amber, you already, like, your life's made up. So like just go ask. And the worst thing they're going to say, no, they could ghost you. Whatever. So another thing about that is, let's show monitor. By doing that, I updated my website to have, on the Office Hours with Amber tab, now all of my things live on my website, which is not a big deal, because if you're here, that means you already know where my YouTube lives. So, yeah. Also, if you want a quick peek at my website, how cute is she? Ugh, she's a little tough, but over time, she'll be better. But if you'd like to schedule time to talk with me, feel free to go to peachyprofitability.com, and there's a Calendly, so you know exactly when I'm free. Because that was actually from probably from month 1 where I solved that problem, because people think, Amber, you're so busy all the time. It's like, actually, girlfriend, you have full access to my calendar. Feel free to schedule some time. Okay. Hi, Jody. Love you so much. Thank you guys for coming. I was assuming that was who was spamming the heart button, which also, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Also, side note, in the realm of video editing, I have been learning. Let me go find it. Wrong one. I have been learning DaVinci Resolve, and I had a nice time on Friday. So at Amjamber, that's the old account that we used to have Office Hours with Amber now. That is now more of a hobby account. And what I did on Friday is I did click around and find out. So cute. I'm really loving it. And I messed with my lighting, and it was kind of moody and fun. But I was muted for 30 minutes of that. But the cool thing about learning DaVinci Resolve is there's a lot of good stuff in there. And I'm like, what I needed to do, because DaVinci Resolve is like, it feels like coding in VBA. It's just like this amorphous, huge thing. But once I started just clicking around and finding out, it was a lot of fun. So that also is kind of all of these parts of my brain together is like getting excited about video making, the process, the software, enjoying more of the parts of it instead of feeling like I'm just garbage at it. Because it's like, Amber. So I heard the greatest quote. It was saying perfectionism comes from a place where you feel entitled to greatness, which gutted my ass. I was like, yeah, why do I feel entitled to greatness? I didn't work for it, because the people who are really fantastic editors worked for it. I'm really great at Excel because I worked for it. But similarly, I haven't worked as hard as some of the other people in the Excel community. So it's like, why do I think I'm entitled to all of this greatness? Like, just go be shitty at it. A concept. Okay, I'm done yammering. Okay, I'm going to be Googling, YouTubing. Also, the craziest part about Opus Clip is I had, obviously on here, I'll show YouTube videos sometimes, and the Opus Clip was like, wow, this part of your video is going to go viral. And it was like of someone else's video. I was like, okay. Anyways, okay, I'm done yammering now. Anyways, I keep track of all of my learnings here on Canva because I feel like it's just more fun that way. So if we were to map, and I'm not even going to take the time to map out what my current process is right now. Like, truly, it's like film stuff, edit after. That's truly like, I'll just have an idea, immediately start filming. And that's what my TikTok is. But on YouTube, can't really do that. I mean, you can, but wildly inefficient. Okay. Video making process. Let's just see what the internet has to say. Ricky. The other thing is, like, editing is one part of it, but inside of editing, it's like an entirely, like, every one of these steps has sub-steps to it. So, like, for instance, like project, that's a little too in-depth, but like, yeah, I think, and that's why it's a whole ass industry. You know what I mean? Let's go to YouTube.
Filmmaking. It's not just about pointing a camera at something interesting. It's about creating something unforgettable. But for beginners, the path to success can feel overwhelming. Where do you start? What gear do you need? How do you find your first?
Well, that's also, I don't even care about the success. Also, okay, this is from Jody. Also about perfectionism, what I find comforting is there are people doing more mediocre than me, and I would be proud of them for doing it anyway, so why am I not being softer with myself? Oh, bars, Jody, that's a good one. Because that's true. Like, I am the biggest fan on TikTok. If I see, like, a woman just, like, existing, dancing, doing something silly, I am, like, in the comments, like, pop off, girlfriend, hell yeah. And it's not like a patronizing thing that I do. It's like, I full ass support women being loud and weird, or loud and talented, or loud and amazing, or like just being louder, to be honest, or softer if they want to be an ASMR. But man, ASMR creeps me out. Especially when people are like eating something. But yes, I completely agree. I had other thoughts. It's blank and my brain's gone.
Clients. It's a lot to take in. So in this video, I'm going to share 7 essential tips that'll guide you to success. The camera in your hand is just a tool. It's your job to make it work for you. And the first step to mastering any camera is understanding.
Well, here's the problem. I don't care much about like the gear part. So I'm gonna have to sift through some of these. Ooh, planning. production.
So
Okay,
over the last year,
this is gonna be it. Also, you see what his setup looks like? That is goals. That is what if we toggle back, we're getting closer. We're closer than we were. But man, I just love this. But I have to remember, in this room, he has to go click this light on, turn all of his lights off. Like, it's no different than the shit I'm doing. I just need to like put lights up. And I think before I would have felt silly like pointing a light towards the middle of the room, but then I have like this little light. So it's like I'm recently developing, taste is not the word for it, developing an interest in how lighting actually impacts everything. And so similarly, actually, okay, another thing that made me happy. One moment. I never thought that lighting would be something that I actually cared about, which sounds crazy to say it that way, but took a kind of cool video, and this also sparked an immense amount of joy in my heart. So this is Circle House Coffee, and they had requested that we send some like basic videos, but I was like, how much ass can I throw into this? And so the whole entirety of the video, not important, but it just like imagine they have like birds chirping and they're like, rise and shine, have some Circle House coffee. Like, isn't that so cool? Like, this is like video or like filmmaker, photographer 101. I know that, but for an engineer, this is my first rodeo with it. And so how neat is that? And like, obviously edit it, like working on like what temperature the light is or whatever. And then what if we have a backlight? What does that look like? I was just like dicking around with it, and like the amount of joy this 2 minutes of my life created in my heart was so strange. Man, towards the end, I kind of figured it out mildly. Not really. But anyways, that's all I have to say about that. Oh, someone's at my front door. I also ordered patio furniture recently. Oh. I ordered a swivel rock chair and a little table so that I could work outside sometimes. So we'll see. Okay.
I've gotten a lot of comments, Instagram DMs, and emails from folks asking how I make my
All right.
is the planning phase. Now, I know I've talked about this a lot in previous videos, and so I'm not going to go into huge detail about it. However, it is one of the most important parts of my whole process, and we're going to get into why in just a second. But before we do, let's start with the idea. Now, where I get my ideas and how I plan my videos is super important, actually one of the most important pieces of the entire production process for my YouTube videos personally. And that's just because the way I plan it and the ideas that I come up with and the way I execute those, all of that comes into play for my intro, for my outro, for the beat I come up with.
Milan Note.
And the way I execute those, all of that comes into play for my intro, for my outro, for the B-roll I'm gonna shoot, for the cinematic sequences that I'm gonna film, all of that kind of stuff. So where do I come?
Nobody talks about how mildly embarrassing you feel when you're shooting B-roll, because you're like, there's a video on TikTok where this guy is like doing all these like crazy like things with his camera, and he's like, oh, and then you think it's gonna be like this. There's so many videos on TikTok where it's like, watch how this becomes that, and then at the end of the video, it's like a video you'd exactly expect of like all shaky and weird. So every time I shoot B-roll, I feel like a total phony, but I feel like a phony all the time. So whatever. Come
up with my ideas? Well, those usually come from many different places. For example, for our camera movement video that we just did last week, that came from my kids playing with their Legos, and that is what inspired the intro. Other ideas will come from sometimes my wife. The transitions video literally came from her asking me why I haven't done a video on transitions yet. So that is how that video was born. And sometimes I'll get an idea just by watching other YouTube.
Another thing to bring up is that I struggle with the idea that, like, as an engineer, as a woman with ADHD, there's so many big creators that I feel like they've said everything so eloquently and like so well and organized and everything. And it's difficult because it's like I'm stealing little bits and pieces from all of these different places, and then I'm bringing them all together to have like this new thought. So it's like I want to reference exactly where all of these thoughts came from, because I feel like kind of a phony if I was to just make a video on like, here's my process on task organization, without me crediting every single one of the people. And like, I can do that. It's just more of like, I wouldn't feel confident in showing like a video like that I created that is a combination of every thought because everyone's thoughts are just a combination of all the like the interests and motivations and like things you find out in nature and all these things together. So it's like, it's like a weird ownership thing where I feel like, well, I've never had a unique thought. I just have the thoughts that came to me from all of these other ping pong thoughts of other people. So it's like, I never feel like I can be like, I am the owner of this thought. I think the only thing that I really stand confidently on that I've not seen before is my hypothesized equation for growth equaling value, accountability, novelty, capacity. Other people have said it in other ways, but not quite exactly the way I've said it. But then I went back in my brain and I was like, wait, my perspective is my own and everyone's perspective is their own. And like, then I thought, if I was to inspire something in someone else and they made a video without crediting me, what do I care? Like, you know what I mean? But that's not exactly how everyone thinks about that. So it's like, and that's anxiety. Okay.
Videos and thinking, hey, that was a really cool topic. Let's see how I could put my own spin on it. Sometimes I'll be watching a movie or a film and I will get the inspiration and start typing away a thought that I have in my head, which will eventually turn into an idea. Another reason why the planning process and coming up with the ideas ahead of time is super important is because these videos definitely take a long time to make. Sometimes they take the entire week. Sometimes they take weeks on end. I like to get really in depth about the things that I teach, and I want to make sure that what I'm teaching is going to add you the most value and actually elevate you as a filmmaker, a video creator, or just a creative in general. And the way that I present my videos is super important to me as well, because this is a very visual thing that we're learning. It's visual storytelling. Now, some of these ideas are better than others, clearly, and some do really well. These are videos that end up doing really well on the YouTube algorithm for some reason. You guys really enjoy them. I really enjoy them, so that's all that matters to me. So this all starts with the idea. If the idea is good, I then take that idea and I try to formulate a plan. But what does it look like for script? Sometimes I don't. It just depends on the video. After that, I might do a little bit of shot listing. I actually almost never do any shot listing because I know exactly what I want to get. However, when I'm doing tutorials on a specific thing, like a lighting tutorial or something like that, I kind of jot down the look that I'm going for. And then another thing that I try to do before I even start recording is to think through the thumbnail and the title. Now, quite honestly, this is the part that I like the least about making YouTube videos, but it is important. Packaging is probably one of the most important things, because it's not going to do any good if I have a really great video if no one wants to click on it. There's still a lot of room for improvement, but I feel like I am getting better and better as I make them. So anyway, you guys let me know. So when I'm jotting down ideas, or when I'm scripting, or even when I'm coming up with my thumbnail and my title, I'm using a program called Milanote. Now, this is something that I've been using for a very long time, at least a few.
Mom, you bring up a great point. Like writing a book, how much of the book is ideas you've read or have seen, or who knows? And that's where I'm like, okay, let's talk about our girl Sarah J. Maas and ACOTAR. That was it felt like a spin-off of Hunger Games and Beauty and the Beast, and everyone was fine with it. And it's like, and so, yeah, there's a book that my girl Lynn told me about. So good that you brought that up, Mom. It's called Steal Like an Artist. Yeah, there we go. Steal Like an Artist. And it talks about like ripping off someone's specific work is like super shit. But if you reference all sorts of different work, like, and then it's like how to be a creative kleptomaniac. And it kind of talks about like how to do it, how to, like, it even like there's all these like good little things at the beginning. So cute. Like, you're collecting good ideas Anyways, but I think it's an interesting, I'm grappling with the thoughts of how much, if I'm getting all these good ideas from all over the place, but I don't see them packaged in a way like that. He just used the word packaged, but like sometimes it takes someone saying it 6 times in different ways to it eventually to get through your brain. And what I'm finding is I communicate things just a little differently than the next person, but everyone communicates everything just a little differently than the next person, obviously. And that's where then it re-enables my brain to be like, well, why don't I just say it in my own way? Because there's a subsect of people that speak the same language as me, or at least like it connects in a different way. And so it's actually my responsibility to create videos to explain these concepts, because there's people who are highly technical and there's people who are wildly entertaining, or like rather there's kind of the people that are highly technical, not good at communicating it, people who are really good at communicating but not highly technical, and then I fit into the center of this little Venn diagram. And but my lack of ability, like it actually I'm more on like the technical side, but I'm having trouble communicating it. So actually, the more that I lean into learning how to communicate well, which professionally in businesses with PowerPoints and decks and presenting to like an audience, like not hard, not incapable of doing that, but I've never translated it over to like a professional videos editing. And that, if we go all the way back to a problem I've had for months, is people can't really word of mouth my business because it's hard to explain. It's kind of complex. But if I could have 3 or 4 or 5 videos that they could send to a friend, be like, oh, this girl, she does this. And then having like a bank of resources that is more easily digestible by people, that I think could solve a problem that I'm having with, not that I'm having a problem with sales, I'm just not a specifically great salesperson. So that's where I need to enable my word of mouthers, my friends and family, on how do you even communicate what the hell I do, because it's kind of gray and in the middle. Art is inspired by something which the human experience is universal, just different filters. Exactly. Man, you guys are just hitting the bars. Okay, we got to talk about process. I am getting too mystical. Really, where we're at right now is it's idea. Whoa. Let's maybe make this. What is going on? There we go. Maybe a different font. Just not feeling Gilroy today. Ricoletta. Cute. Oba letra. Let's do that. Obra letra. There we go. It's really like idea, develop, idea, collect assets. And this is very small, but then we can say underneath each of these, there's sub-processes. Okay, I'm gonna throw some music on, because I'm just gonna, I think I just need to like write out what I think in my brain should happen. Have you ever thought of the video as a PowerPoint with a flow instead of slides. Ooh, I could use PowerPoint to storyboard my stuff out. That's a good idea. Beautiful idea. I'm gonna put that as a... And the other thing about that is really it would just get me back to, I think, yeah. I'm with you, Mom. That's a great idea. I need to put that as like a, yeah. My brain's gonna go somewhere with that thought. I promise. Thank you, Mom. I would love to be the queen of PowerPoint. I hate when these just don't feel wide enough. And I know that's like a strange... The nice thing is, like, most of the videos that I'm doing are like me to me. And if I need to do an interview, that's like a one-off scenario. So it's not that I have to do a lot of like most everything I can control within my house, because it's all like, actually the filming section of it is quite easy because I've already been kind of doing that with OBS, and like I already have pathways to be able to film very easily in my house. And I've built my content wall, my thinker wall. So eventually I got my Good Trade Depot. If you are watching, I didn't steal my tripod back. It used to hold our projector that went on the wall, but I got that back so that now I can do videos up against like vertical videos with the thinker wall, or you know, horizontal. So I already am like, the bones of how to shoot it I'm not worried about. It's more of, I think, the development of the idea is the problem. So I'm gonna say film, and we're gonna say collect. Edit. Oh, I'm not even showing my screen. Whoops. I've seen, and this is where, at the beginning, I'm not too concerned about making the most visually impactful, meaningful thing. I think I have to decrease the pressure on that, because when you see videos from like the first thing that's coming to my mind is like the Casey Neistats of the world. It's already like so story rich on whatever he's trying to show you, and he does that through like very, like, it's not like flash bang, like it's not this, it's just like a very calm, cool story. And there's so many frameworks, and I think I at the beginning can't put too much pressure on it, because I'm not here to be like the best storyteller in the world. It's more of like, hey, here's how I fixed this thing with this thing. And I don't really want to do tutorials either. It's more of like, here's a human moment I had, and here's what systemically I did about it using blah, 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 blah. And there's like the STAR framework of like situation, task, action, result. And like, I want like a repeatable framework that I like using that is not 1 gazillion steps. So for instance, like the hero's journey, that's got so much to it, but maybe I'm already following that process and I don't realize it. Similar, like there's so many frameworks that you could follow. But even if you like look at how I've framed today's video, it's like we start with backstory, like, and I think that's also like a mildly, it might be just like a woman like experience thing, or it might be an ADHD thing, and I don't really know where it falls. But I think there's such a long history of not being believed, or really, I think it's an engineering thing, is when you have to prove every choice you ever make ever with data, research, logic, and reasoning, you kind of, when you start presenting executively, you don't have to give backstory. You can give that as supplemental after. You could say, here's the situation we were facing. I took this action. It had this result. If they ask for, like, here's my objective. Here's the objective. Here's the result. Here's how I did it. And then if they want backstory, they'll ask for it. But in terms of the people that I'm looking to do projects with or work with, like, I'm also trying to find people like me that are looking for someone like to be seen in that moment. So it's like by giving the backstory, it puts them kind of like there's a book called The Goal, and instead of being a self-help book about how to run industrial operations, it puts you in the, like, the book is told from the first person perspective of the guy running a failing like a factory. So then there's no moment of saying, like in the self-help books, it's often like, you should do this, here's how to do this. But by telling a story from the first person of, here's what I'm going through, then you can't escape, like, oh, when you're reading self-help books, you often are like, well, they don't know my circumstances. They don't, like, they could never possibly understand the pressure I'm under. But in The Goal, he's telling it from their perspective. So the sooner we can get people in the boat to see that I am you, we are we, and shoo, he, we, shoo, we've all, like, me now and me 2 years ago, like, I want to find me 2 years ago and see how I can help her. And that's where backstory is important for those kind of videos, but some videos only need, and so that's where I'm overcomplicating it again. Anyways, I think I'm gonna have to do more research. I'm gonna put find repeatable frameworks I like. That will be a task for me later this week, because I think even when I was doing my presentation for the, let's see here, make a video on that's the growth equation. I think I did so much energetic research, and I took so much time to build that great presentation for that, and then I never, like, I could make a video on that, and I think that would be super helpful for me 2 years ago, me now there's so many things that I've learned that I just have to go back and rewatch. Values assessment. Now I'm just thinking of videos that I need to do. Peachy profitability intro. So many. Because it would be nice at the beginning of my office hours with Amber to be able to just roll an intro clip of what Peachy profitability is. Like, I should be able to just, like, spit it out in exactly what I do, but sometimes, like, I should be able to just spit it out every time, but it would be nice to have a repeatable things, because it's just kind of a mouthful. But oop. I get the two different ways. You need sometimes more business, sometimes more personal. I know, Mom, it's so tough. But if we go back to what Peachy profitability is, it is the Okay, we need to Google this. Dichotomy or duality? Dichotomy versus duality. What does it mean? Okay, dichotomy is strict, mutually exclusive division of subject two opposing non-overlapping parts. Oh, duality describes two distinct aspects of properties that coexist within a single. Okay, duality. So it's not the dichotomy. The duality of PT profitability is people and process. And that's where I need to find my specific framework of how to make them kiff. Anyways, personal touch of professionalism. And that's funny because every time I've ever had feedback from any job I've ever worked ever, it's always been, you can really be just like a little bit more professional. And it's like, I know. Don't quit your day job, Toots. Yikes. PT profitability. I'm going to do more research on that later. Similar to the, oh, you can't even see what I'm writing. Similar to the Microsoft Excel World Championships and competitive Excel generally, every question, and this is also with life, every question is trying to get you, there's a specific and clear objective of every question. And so every time I get confused while I'm competing, the only thing I have to say is, what is the objective? What is the question they're actually asking me to answer right now? And every time life gets tough, I also, circling back to my original thing at the beginning, when you feel like your emotions have completely turned off, life is getting quiet. I saw a really nice quote the other day, no idea the source, but it said, often if you're in class, it gets quiet in the room during the test. So there are moments where your life and everything gets really quiet. And so right now I'm in a space of very extreme quiet where nothing is exploding, nothing's wrong, nothing's really right, everything's itchy, but it's extremely quiet in my mind. Everything is silent. So what in the universe is testing me right now? What am I being called to be tested? Like, what test am I failing or succeeding at right now? And I think the test I'm supposed to be succeeding at right now is reconnecting with 7th grade Amber, making a video process. And I know this sounds like woo-woo crazy, but it's like, especially doing the Artist Way program, it's like, no, you're meant to do this thing. You just have to like let yourself do that thing. And I think the entire universe is calming down. So it's like, Amber, just make some videos. And I know how silly that sounds, but I was talking with Matt, also, shout out Matt White, Good Trade Depot. I was like, hey, I know I'm hired as your industrial engineer. What would happen if I took the next 2 weeks to just film and edit my ass off? And he was like, that's a great idea. What? So I was not expecting that response. But now I'm like, idea. What if I lean in so heavy to that I burn myself out on video making and then I just go back to doing my normal job? Failed successfully, so we're gonna try that out. But yeah, just some thoughts. But back to the fucking original thought, development. I need to write down the one singular goal of the video. Each video should have one goal. And I think my brain oftentimes is trying to prove that what I'm saying is relevant and necessary. And so I lose track of the plot of the video is supposed to answer one question. One goal. Are they supposed to walk away empowered? Are they supposed to walk away with an action to do? What are they leaving with? Then this is a good tip from Faye Boardbar, shout out. When I was making my presentation for the Excel conference, she was saying, what is the goal of your presentation, and wrap the bow entirely around it. So from the beginning and the very end, she was she gave ideas like, you know, in the next 60 minutes, you're going to learn blah, and I'm going to show you how that relates to blah. You talk in that hour, and then at the very end, you wrap it all the way back up. So, and that is how you can do blah in relation to blah. So then you kind of wrap the bow, package it all the way up. And so if you were to put a label on that presentation, it would have one clear, succinct goal. Now in that hour, you can take the journey and do whatever framework you want. But if you don't have one singular goal, people are going to, and that's why the live streams, they're just meant to hang out, for us to have a good time together. Really, it's just a chance for me and my family to chit chat. Man, my brain. But that was a good tip from a dear friend. Collect assets. That's the easy part. OBS. We got camera. We got lenses. Shout out Norman Lens for helping me with my camera. I am thinking of take class nearby. Learn more technically about camera. I think I get away with the auto mode so much, and it's not going to work forever. Now, I took a class in high school, but Norman Camera does they do classes, like refresher classes, which I think is so cool. So I'm trying to lean in locally of like, what can I learn from the people around me? A concept. Okay, DaVinci Resolve, templates, fonts, brand guidelines. Efficiency features. So the more I learn about DaVinci, the more I can lean into a lot of these other things to make it repeatable and sustainable for me. Because if you go in and every time you're setting up the same stuff, it's like, why don't we just administratively automate some of these things? Like having a template file, saving off a copy, renaming it to the new project you have, and then having they have to have batch there's just so much I don't know about DaVinci Resolve. So anyways, posting, this is where learning, at this point, eventually learn algorithmic timing and tags and post. Like with posting things, every platform has their different algorithms and all their nonsense. And so I really, especially in this moment, because likes, clicks, follows, whatever is not the point. It's creating a digital catalog that I can use to better communicate what I do, the concepts that I've learned, empower, enlighten, and entertain people. It's not really about the followers and all of that stuff. Like it's like, or yeah, my brain's gonna go somewhere with that thought. But it's not about like being on the algorithm. It's about being able to use these resources to quickly pull something out of the tool belt and say, I have a video for that. That's what I want this to become. I don't really much care about playing the games of this nonsense algorithm we all live in. But I at least feel happy that I have decided that the ideas and development segments need more love than I'm giving them, as well as this also couples back with last week's ideas of the I had a really good conversation with Bridie Powers. Love her so much. She's a part of the She's Got Projects group that I created on Discord. If you're a woman and are looking to have some creative accountability, skill sharing, and a place to digitally co-work with a bunch of other great women, let me know. But we were talking about this concept of my task management, and it was a really beautiful thing she said. She was like, this is what your world looks like, and all of the tasks and ideas and things you have inside of and outside of that world. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna cry. But what I'm finding is the editing is a float task when I let it be. Orbit is where all of my good ideas are going to fester. Re-entry is where I start developing those ideas. Mission control is the filming, the editing, and the doing of those things. And it's kind of float too. And then fires. There's no fires in content creation. This is for fun. Anyways, this has been Office Hours with Amber, and I'm so happy that you all joined me here today. I have been cutting it off accidentally a little short, so this is me announcing that the stream is ending here shortly. And when it actually turns off, who could be sure? not me. So I'm going to say goodbye, everyone.